1340 96.5 KVGC. On the phone with me this morning is Douglas Viviani from Everything Old is New Again. Douglas, good morning.
Good morning. We are in the, we just had a little bit of a blizzard here last week, so we're just dug out and trying to enjoy the, after the holidays. Don't you feel a little bit of like a doldrum, a little downer?
Really?
No, I do. Like it's all over and done, and now what do we have to look forward to? Valentine's Day? Is that the next big event? I don't know.
Well, Monday is Martin Luther King Day, and then let's see. I guess what else we have the first quarter moon coming up on the 24th of this month, and then I don't know, full blue moon on the end of the month. Don't you guys celebrate that back east, the full moon? I mean, we dance.
Yeah,
around.
We have the elf on the shelf out and ready to roll for that one too. I don't know, a little bit of doldrums. We're just trying to figure out what to do over here. I've been scrolling through some. You know how you I don't know, you miss some shows or you don't see shows, but now that we have them on demand, you can pull them up.
Yeah.
I just pulled up, and I didn't realize it had been on because I saw it 2 years ago. It was pretty fun. This Better Late Than Never. Have you seen this?
Oh yeah, is there another season of it?
Yeah, I found it last night. I couldn't believe it. Henry Winkler, Terry Bradshaw, George Foreman, and of course William Shatner are now back together, and they're in Europe, going through Oktoberfest in Germany, and getting a little bit tipsy and going to I've never heard of this, a hangover hospital, which was very interesting. and then they went to Sweden, and they're trying to become Vikings in Sweden and rowing boats and on the water, and it was just if you haven't seen it, it's just these four characters that you would never think would get along and didn't originally, but now they're sort of gelling as a team and just enjoying the sunset of their years, hitting the bucket list, if you will, by traveling around.
Do you think that they're friends?
You can see that William Shatner gets along with the Fonz, Henry Winkler.
Yeah.
The rest of them, you could see a little bit of Terry Bradshaw, and I've heard this before, is a little bit of a scutch, so they don't really get along. And George Foreman, I think, is pretty much a loner who just kind of puts his comments in here and there. But I think Shatner and Winkler get along. But what about you?
See, that's what it seems to me. It seems to me that I don't know if Shatner and Bradshaw, they seem to clash more than anyone else on the show. So I don't know if that's just, for the show or if, but yeah, I totally see that. And who's the guy that goes along with them?
Wouldn't you like to have that job? Some guy, Jeff Nye or something like that. It's I don't know. It seems to be. I'm trying to piece it together. Henry Winkler's the executive producer and basically in charge of the show. So I'm assuming he was like a personal assistant or somebody that Henry Winkler knew. He's a fellow that's probably, 35 at best.
Yeah.
That he's their assistant and foil, and kind of keeps them going wherever they're going.
Because he seems to be the guy that sort of sets it up or gets it, keeps it rolling.
Right, exactly.
Keeps
exactly.
it rolling. So
it's a lot of fun trying to do that. I don't know, what would you do? I'm just going to throw it at you. Are there things on a list that you haven't done yet that as we all look to the future, kind of want to do?
Yes. I want to build a roll-top desk.
Is that the period on the sentence? That's it?
That's it. I want to build a roll. I've wanted to build a roll-top desk since I was probably 10 or 11 years old. I would send away, I would read Popular Mechanics and Popular Science and all, and in the back, there would always be, hey, build your own mini bike, get plans to do this, build a time machine, do that, and
okay.
I would send away for plans to build things and I don't anymore. I must have had, 5 or 6 complete full sets of how to build a roll-top desk. I know it sounds silly, but if I ever get the, if I ever get the chance to retire or slow down a bit, I used to have the woodworking equipment to do it, and then I lost it all. I sold it, actually. I didn't lose it, sold it. And because I wasn't using it. But now I think that's going to be in the next 10 years, you're going to hear of me building a roll top desk. It will make national news.
Yeah, it'll probably be one of the newest and only productions of roll top desks in 2000, let's say 20, right? I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't mind going to. I'd like to go to see Mount Rushmore. I've never seen Mount Rushmore. Have no desire to travel overseas. Always wanted to go to see the pyramids and Egypt, but I don't think I want to travel in the Middle East these days. Just
right.
I don't know. Just don't want to go there. Have no desire to do that. It's funny you say this because Teresa and I were talking about this at dinner last night. There's a cruise that goes out of New York, goes all the way around the world.
Yep.
Goes up, goes around the Cape, Cape Horn, comes up, goes around, goes. I don't know if it goes through the Panama Canal or down through South, the tip of South America or not. But I wouldn't mind going on that. And
I think I've seen that myself. I think it's different ones, but I think that's a 45-day cruise.
Something like that, yeah. It takes, my father is 93, knock on wood, still in good health. Teresa's parents are getting close to 90, so I don't think we'd want to be away. We don't have grandchildren yet, so, I could afford to be away for 45 days. But I'd stay close at home, for my
those cruises, I think, are a great way to see the world and be safe, as safe as you can be.
Yeah.
And they even have, from New York, I think it's 10 or 14, I think it's a 14-day cruise around Europe, so you can kind of modify that plan and maybe do that, something like that. That sounds like a fun thing that I wanted to do as well. I've got a ship here, the USS Constitution, that's been sitting on my desk that I've been trying to build for the last 7 years. And I keep looking at it, and I keep trying to get to it, but I've got a pile of stuff on my desk, and I never get to it. That's one thing I would want to do, that's for sure.
Or maybe I would take a ship out of San Francisco through the Panama Canal, come into Long Island, and you could pick me up and take me to lunch for the day.
That would be perfect. That's a long way to go just for lunch. I'd have to take it to a spectacular place. But
David can't come. David's not invited.
No, he's going to stay in New York City. I'll bring it to the best place in East Northport instead.
There we go. Sounds good. Is that where you had your senior prom, or is that place closed? Is that place still open?
Let's see. The junior prom place is closed in
okay.
scandal and ruin. That's another story. And the senior prom place still exists. We could go there. It's on a golf course. You could hit the links a little bit too.
Okay, sounds good to me. How about you? Do you have any?
I like the cruise idea. They have Star Trek cruises now for 2 weeks. I would do something like that. Maybe that would be right up my alley. How about meeting Stan Lee? He lives out on Long Island. I keep trying to get him on the show. He's definitely in his 90s. I think mid-90s at this point. I'd love to have a conversation with him, something like that. And I myself eventually would like to make my way back to California's The Conquering Hero and stop off in Jackson and visit the town for a little while. Sounds like a great place to live.
You should
actually.
Tell you what, you should come, and we'll set you and the wife, even the kids, up at the National Hotel. Okay, you could be our guest host on Friday's show, and then you could come in. You could fly in either late Thursday or early Friday, and then we'll fly you out of here on Saturday or Sunday. But you would have to fly in a crop duster because we don't have the budget for a jet.
Actually, sounds good to me. I will be putting that into the schedule maybe for this summer. I'd like to get out with the family and do something like that. That'd be a lot of fun.
I don't want to get off topic here, but what was that you were? I listened to the show in two segments. I listened to Saturday and I listened to Sunday,
right.
And I listened to parts, and I was going in and out. Both we had parties going on, and I missed. Did you say something about Stan Lee was broke and had to do something to make money with like the Fantastic Four cartoon series or something? Was I hearing that wrong?
Well, it wasn't that he was broke, but he's actually sold this. Well, let me back up. Who was broke was the ones that created Batman.
Okay.
Bob Kane.
Okay.
And he did a series, Courage the Cat and Minute Mouse, and I don't know if you ever heard of it.
No.
It was a series that you could get it on YouTube of basically Batman and Robin, but they were a cat and a mouse together in the car fighting evil. It was a cartoon, and so that's the only way he could make some money. And I don't think they ever, with Schuster and the Batman creators, DC did make up for that with them and paid them some money. But I don't think they ever did with Bob Kane. I don't think so.
I think they basically stole that from him, or they lost it, didn't they?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And he did that cartoon. That was the last thing he did, and what a shame. Just back in the day before people saw attorneys before they signed contracts, they basically gave away those great properties.
See,
and of course, they didn't know what they had in their hands either.
Attorneys are good for something. See,
if you get the right one, that's the whole thing.
The law office of Douglas Viviani. I like your commercials. Hey, can I run your commercials on the station here?
Sure, why not?
I'm serious. I would. For free. I won't even
Absolutely.
charge.
I would love it. That would be great.
Even...
I've been in California. I could do work out there.
Are you licensed in California?
Yes, absolutely.
Good. I'll run them for you.
I appreciate that. Well, maybe we'll do a couple more new ones this weekend. Why not?
Okay. That'd be great. I mean, seriously.
We'll shiny up the commercials and run them. I would appreciate that. That would be great.
I think it'd be kind of fun. So you could run from like midnight to 4 a.m. somewhere in there. You could own
on a loop.
You could own the nighttime. No, because we have coast to coast AM. So but you'd be right in there.
We could be sponsoring Coast to Coast. So to
there
speak.
you go. Hey, have you been? Are you into the Olympics at all? Is that a big thing for you?
As a kid, I used to love the Olympics in the 70s. I don't know, with Jim McKay, and it used to be something, remember we had 3 stations, maybe 4 stations. It was riveting TV. We watched it all the time. We were avid skiers, loved the Winter Olympics, the bobsled, the luge, the ski jump, the downhill skiing, the ice skating. But these days it's kind of lost its appeal a little bit, although because they've divided it up and to watch it, I guess if you're a fan, you can watch everything, but it's a project and a half because it's on like 17 different channels all day long. I end up watching and gravitate towards curling. Have you ever done this?
I've never done curling before. Interesting sport. Curling would be like watching a bocce ball tournament kind of. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting. They have the conversations they have while people are curling, which is basically that big rock that they throw, and it's basically shuffleboard on ice, right?
Yeah.
And the conversations they have and the skill that they allege that it's developed to play this game. I don't know. It's a game that I think right now, without any practice, I could get out there and actually do in the Olympics. Maybe not win, but I think I could do it. So that's why I relate to it.
Would you be like the sweeper guy, or what would you? The person?
After a couple of throws, I'd be one of those guys that get on the knee and just like throw that. I think everyone has to do everything anyway. But no, wait a minute, they're specialized. Yeah, I would be the guy that throws the. I think they call it the pill or the rock.
All right, so I wouldn't mind being the sweeper guy.
All right, so we got 2. We just need 2 more guys.
Goes ahead and sweeps, and to make sure that it gets there. And I don't know. I've always thought that'd be kind of a. I don't know why.
But doesn't it look like it's something we could all do?
Yes.
And they have I looked up. They have a curling club on Long Island. Believe it or not, one in an indoor rink at like 4 a.m. because the ice time is so expensive. I'm not going to be doing that.
When you were growing up, did you play? I mean, was that a thing when you were a kid?
It really wasn't. That's why I'm fascinated by it. It's like it's a sport that I've never seen. I saw it once in a James Bond movie, if you ever remember that one, going way back. And that's it. So it was just a goof to me. I love the downhill skiing and all the slalom skiing and all that stuff. I don't know if we're going to be tuned in as much. I hope we will, but I just don't think it'll be the fascination it used to be. How about you?
No, I'm not into the Olympic. If anything, I'm into more the Summer Olympics, just because I guess I don't know. Winter sports have never interested me that much. My wife loves the ice dancing or ice skating or whatever that is, but nothing against. I have nothing against the Olympics, but no, I guess I'd rather watch the Summer Olympics than the Winter Olympics, and I could live without either one, to be honest with you. It doesn't.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the cachet anymore. It's like so many things where deluge with so much entertainment, I think,
Yeah.
that we're not starved to watch the Olympics too much anymore.
Watch-
But maybe you throw it on during the day when you're, I don't know, doing some paperwork or something like that. But that, it's not going to be the center of attention the way it was, I don't think. Every night, 8 o'clock, let's sit down and watch what happened this week or today in the Olympics,
If you have time to watch grown people throw a big rock and sweep in front of it while it goes down a section of ice, you got time to do other stuff more productive.
Exactly.
Speaking of that,
yes.
Go ahead. Speaking of that, what's up with today's show?
We are going to take a look at a phenomenon from the 70s that is still amazingly strong, and it seems to be under the radar a little bit, but it's very strong, is the Planet of the Apes. Do you remember? I don't know.
Wow.
First of all, the War for the Planet of the Apes just made $50 million. They just had the reboot for the last 3 movies. Charlton Heston started this whole thing with the original Planet of the Apes, and I just am fascinated by the whole thing, from Tarzan and Cheetah to J. Fred Muggs, if you remember him on the
Today
Show, right? Lancelot Link, which was a Saturday morning show, which was insane, to Go Ape, a time when they had, it was late mid-'70s, and they advertised you could go see all 5 Planet of the Apes movies in one day. And us kids got together and schemed and connived and stayed at the movie theater for 10 hours watching all 5 original Planet of the Apes movies. I don't know, was it a phenomenon for you or no?
I didn't like the story, so I stayed away from it. And still as a grown man, I don't like the story, so I stay away from it.
Well, that's the whole thing. I'm going to argue with David. I mean, he sympathizes with the apes, especially now in these movies. I always sympathize with the humans, and Charlton Heston got upset about it. And and so, it was disturbing, especially as a kid.
Yeah.
But, then they did a TV show and cartoons and comics, and I don't know, there's just amazing fascination with this whole thing. And I also think what we're going to end up talking about is, obviously there's more to it than just an action movie. There's got to be some meaning behind what exactly is the message they're trying to promote, and so we'll get into that as well.
I'm going to wrap the show up with one thing. You've heard that 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, where everybody is connected some way after, at least 7 times removed.
Right.
Okay? It's going to be Douglas Viviani instead of Kevin Bacon, because think about it. You had Bernie Capel on your show, who's connected to what? Who's connected to Lancelot Link.
Yes, he is, through Get Smart.
Yes. So see how that all works?
It all comes together. It is very interesting, isn't it?
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Hey, Douglas Viviani and
David.
David.
Well, that's what makes it fun.
Tonight at 6 o'clock, tomorrow at 6 o'clock, everything old is new again. It's the show that each week examines our pop culture, where it came from, and why it's still popular. Definitely listen to this show. Douglas and David truly make radio fun again, and I'll take that $20 that you told me you'd give me.
It's in the mail.
So thank you. All right, Douglas Viviani, have a great show tonight.